The security guard's grip on my arm was firm but apologetic as he escorted me from the estate I had just saved from foreclosure. My sister Victoria's voice rang out behind me, theatrical and trembling for the benefit of her Instagram live audience. And this is what financial abuse looks like, everyone. Watch how she refuses to leave even after what she did to our family. I, Catherine Bennett, age 34, stood in the circular driveway of Bennett Grove Estate, watching my entire world crumble. Just 3 weeks ago, I had transferred $275,000, my entire savings and then some, to save our family's historic property from bank seizure. Now, I was being treated like a criminal. The wrought iron gates closed behind me with a definitive clang. Through the bars, I could see Victoria, 28, perfect in her designer outfit, still narrating to her phone's camera. Mom stood in the background, wringing her hands but saying nothing. Dad was conspicuously absent, as he had been for the past week. My phone buzzed with notification after notification as Victoria's followers began their attack, discussing how some people use money to control their family. Gee, so brave of you to stand up to toxic family members. Financial abuse is still abuse. Stay strong. I sat in my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, trying to make sense of how everything had gone so wrong so fast. The estate had been in our family for 4 generations. When the bank threatened foreclosure last month, everyone turned to me, the responsible one, the successful one, the one who'd sacrificed everything to keep our family afloat. What they hadn't told me was that they had already sold off most of the valuable antiques, that Victoria had been running her influencer business from the pool house without paying rent, that Dad had taken out a second mortgage without telling anyone. My phone rang, an unknown number. Catherine Bennett? A deep voice, unfamiliar but commanding. Yes, my name is Marcus Richardson. I was your father's business partner 20 years ago. We need to talk. Can you meet me at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in an hour? I hesitated. I don't. It's about the estate, he cut in. And about what your sister doesn't know. Trust me, you want to hear this. An hour later, I sat in the hotel's elegant lobby, facing a distinguished man in his 60s. His silver hair and tailored suit spoke of success. But it was his eyes that held my attention, sharp, knowing, and slightly amused. Your father and I were partners in more ways than one, Marcus began, opening a leather briefcase. Did he ever tell you about the Richardson-Bennett Agreement of 2003? I shook my head. I thought not. He pulled out a thick folder. Your father and I bought several properties together back then, including Bennett Grove Estate. My heart stopped. What? The estate wasn't just your family's property. It was our joint investment, a 50-50 partnership. Your father managed it, while I provided the capital. The agreement was that neither party could sell or transfer ownership without the other's consent. He handed me a document, yellow with age but clearly official. There it was in black and white, Bennett Grove Estate, jointly owned by Thomas Bennett and Marcus Richardson. But we've lived there our whole lives. As per the agreement, your father maintained the property, kept up appearances, but he never had the right to take out that second mortgage, or to let your sister sell off the antiques, or to accept your $275,000 without consulting me. My head spun. Does this mean? It means, Marcus smiled, that your sister's little power play just backfired spectacularly. You see, last week your father came to me in a panic. He admitted everything, the mortgage, the sales, the debts. He also told me about your sacrifice to save the estate. He pulled out another document, this one newer. I bought out your father's share yesterday, but I had a condition. His half would go to the only person who truly tried to save the estate. You. I stared at him, uncomprehending. Congratulations, Catherine. You now own 50% of Bennett Grove Estate, as my partner. But the restraining order Victoria filed. Marcus's smile turned predatory. Ah yes, her masterpiece of manipulation. False accusations of financial abuse, claims that you threatened her, all very dramatic. I have a team of lawyers ready to dismantle every lie. But first, he pulled out his phone, showing me a series of text messages between Victoria and a known art dealer. Messages discussing the sale of estate antiques that weren't hers to sell. Your sister has been busy, he said, selling partnership property without authorization. That's fraud. The pieces she sold were worth over $2 million. My hands trembled as I read the messages. What happens now? Now, Marcus leaned back. We take back what's ours. I assume you'd like to continue living at the estate. I nodded mutely. Good, because your sister is about to learn a very expensive lesson in karma. Just then, my phone buzzed. Another Instagram notification. Victoria was live again, tearfully describing how I had financially abused the family for years. Marcus glanced at it and chuckled. Perfect timing. Shall we give her audience something real to talk about? He pressed a button on his phone. Send them in. Within minutes, my phone exploded with notifications. Victoria's live stream had been interrupted by the arrival of legal representatives, serving her with papers for fraud and unauthorized sale of partnership property. Her last post before going offline. This has to be a mistake, Dad said. But Dad was nowhere to be found. He'd known this was coming. Marcus handed me a key card. I took the liberty of booking you a suite here while we sort this out. Tomorrow we'll begin the process of reclaiming what's yours. As I rode the elevator to my room, my phone buzzed one final time. A text from Dad. I'm sorry, Katie. I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen. Marcus will take care of you now. He knows what to do. I looked at the documents in my hand, proof of my partnership, evidence of Victoria's fraud, the key to reclaiming everything she tried to steal. Sometimes karma doesn't just come back. Sometimes it comes back with receipts. The real battle was just beginning. The next morning dawned with chaos at Bennett Grove Estate. From my hotel suite window, I watched the social media storm unfold on my phone. Victoria's followers were confused. Their champion of standing up to financial abuse had suddenly gone silent after the legal team's appearance. Marcus arrived at 9 a.m. sharp, immaculate in another perfectly tailored suit. Ready to take back your estate. I nodded, clutching a coffee cup with trembling hands. What exactly did Victoria sell? He opened his briefcase, revealing detailed inventory lists. 19th century Persian rugs, your great-grandmother's jewelry collection, several original paintings, all documented as partnership property. All sold without authorization. $2 million worth? Actually, he smiled grimly, closer to 3. Your sister undervalued several pieces to make quick sales. She didn't realize some of those old paintings were signed originals. My phone buzzed. Mom. Catherine, please, we need to talk. Victoria is hysterical. She says men in suits came with papers. Put her on speaker, Marcus suggested. I did. Mom, those men were lawyers. They were serving Victoria with legal documents for selling property that wasn't hers to sell. But they were family heirlooms. They were partnership property, Marcus cut in smoothly. Jointly owned by Bennett Richardson Enterprises. Your daughter committed fraud by selling them. Silence. Then, who was that? Marcus Richardson, Mrs. Bennett, your husband's business partner of 20 years, the co-owner of Bennett Grove Estate. I heard Mom's sharp intake of breath. Thomas never said. Your husband kept many secrets, Mrs. Bennett, including the fact that Catherine is now my new business partner, owning 50% of the estate. The phone clattered. In the background, I heard Victoria's voice rise in panic. What partner? What is he talking about? Marcus checked his watch. The police should be arriving now to begin the fraud investigation. Right on cue, I heard sirens in the background of the call. Mom, I said quietly, put Victoria on the phone. A moment later, my sister's voice came through, all traces of her social media confidence gone. Katie, you have to stop this. I didn't know. Daddy said those things were ours to sell. Did Dad tell you to file a false restraining order too? To accuse me of abuse after I gave you everything? I was protecting our family. No, I cut in, you were stealing. And now you're going to face the consequences. Marcus took the phone. Miss Bennett, this is Marcus Richardson. Would you like to know what happens next? Victoria's breathing was ragged. You can't prove anything. Actually, we have documented evidence of every sale, every text message, every bank transfer, and thanks to your social media posts, we have public evidence of your attempt to defame your sister and fraudulently remove her from property she partially owns. Partially owns? That's our family estate. Not anymore, Marcus said calmly. It belongs to Bennett Richardson Enterprises. Your father sold his share to Catherine yesterday. Everything you've done, The sales, the restraining order, the social media campaign. It's all documented fraud. A detective's voice in the background. Miss Bennett, we need to ask you some questions. Victoria's voice turned desperate. Mom, do something. But Mom had gone quiet. Marcus ended the call and turned to me. Shall we go see our property? The drive to Bennett Grove Estate was surreal. Police cars lined the circular driveway. Victoria was being questioned in the garden, her perfect Instagram aesthetic ruined by smeared mascara and a red face. Mom sat on the front steps, looking shell-shocked. As we pulled up, a familiar car sped away through the gates, Dad's Mercedes. He won't get far, Marcus said, noting my expression. His accounts have been frozen pending the investigation. A detective approached as we got out. Mr. Richardson, we found documentation of more sales in Miss Bennett's room. The total value appears to be closer to $3.5 million. Victoria's wail could be heard across the lawn. Marcus nodded. Add it to the charges, and please ensure nothing else leaves the property. We walked into the house, my house now, or half of it anyway. The entry hall felt different, emptier without the Persian rugs and original artwork. Don't worry, Marcus said, reading my mind. Most of the pieces can be traced and recovered. Art fraud is taken very seriously. Why are you helping me? I finally asked. He paused, looking at an empty spot where a valuable painting had once hung. Your father and I were friends once. Real friends, before greed changed him. When he came to me last week, confessing everything, begging for help, I saw a chance to make things right, to reward the one person who actually tried to save this place. My phone buzzed again. Victoria had somehow managed to post one final social media update. The truth about financial abuse and family betrayal. My own sister set me up. Hired some man to pretend to be Dad's partner. Don't believe their lies. #justice, #family betrayal. Marcus chuckled. She really doesn't know when to stop, does she? His phone rang. Yes? Excellent. Send it through. He turned to me. The police just found Victoria's offshore account. Turns out she didn't spend the money from the sales. She was saving it for a fresh start away from her toxic family. All $3.5 million. Every penny, which means we can recover it. I finished. Exactly, he smiled. Still want to press charges. I looked out the window where Victoria was still being questioned, her designer clothes and perfect makeup a stark contrast to her panicked expression. Yes, I said firmly. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. Good girl. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. Now shall we discuss how to restore Bennett Grove Estate to its former glory? As equal partners? I nodded, finally feeling like justice was being served. But first, I had one last thing to do. I pulled out my phone and opened Victoria's latest post. Under her claims of betrayal and setup, I posted a single comment. Karma doesn't need social media to go viral. Sometimes it just needs the truth. #justice deserved. Then I turned off my phone and followed Marcus into the study. We had an estate to rebuild. 1 month after Victoria's arrest, Bennett Grove Estate was slowly coming back to life. The art recovery team had traced most of the sold pieces, and Marcus's connections in the antiquities world proved invaluable. Each recovered item felt like a small victory. Victoria sat in county jail, denied bail due to flight risk after they discovered her packed bags and one-way ticket to the Cayman Islands. Her social media accounts had gone dark, but her last post had become infamous in the local news. My sister framed me. The truth will come out. The truth did come out, just not the way she expected. During the investigation, the police discovered something even Marcus hadn't known. Victoria had been planning this for over a year. Her computer revealed a detailed spreadsheet, every valuable item in the house, potential buyers, estimated prices. She even documented which pieces would be too obvious to sell immediately. But the biggest revelation came from Dad's old study. Hidden behind a loose panel, we found his personal journal. The entries painted a devastating picture. Victoria came to me with a plan. Sell everything quietly, piece by piece. She said Catherine would never notice, too busy with her important job. When the estate was empty, we'd take out one last loan, make Catherine pay it off to save the family, then sell the property itself. Victoria said we deserved the money more than Catherine. Said Catherine only helped us to control us. I knew it was wrong, but Victoria can be very persuasive. I sat in Marcus's office, reading the journal entries aloud. He listened silently, his expression darkening with each revelation. Your father was weaker than I thought, he finally said. But he did one thing right. He came to me before they could sell the estate. Why didn't he stop Victoria sooner? Marcus sighed. Fear, probably. Your sister had quite a talent for manipulation. The investigators found recordings on her phone. Conversations where she threatened to expose your father's earlier financial misdeeds if he didn't cooperate. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. She'd moved in with her sister after everything came out, unable to face the shame of staying at the estate. The lawyers need to know if you're pressing charges against your father, too. I looked at Marcus. Am I? He leaned back in his chair. That's entirely your choice. But consider this. Your father did eventually try to make things right. He came to me, confessed everything, helped us set up the partnership transfer. Without his cooperation, Victoria might have succeeded. I thought about it. Dad's betrayal hurt, but his final act had helped save the estate. And unlike Victoria, he'd shown genuine remorse. No charges against Dad, I decided. But he's not welcome at the estate. Fair enough. Marcus picked up a stack of papers. Now shall we discuss the renovation plans? The insurance money from the recovered pieces should cover most of it. Just then, his secretary buzzed in. Mr. Richardson, Victoria Bennett's lawyer is here. She's offering a deal. Marcus raised an eyebrow at me. I nodded. Victoria's lawyer, a sleek woman in an expensive suit, laid out the proposal. Victoria would plead guilty to lesser charges, return all the money, and sign away any claim to the estate. In exchange, we'd recommend a lighter sentence. And the social media posts? I asked. The false accusations? My client will post a full retraction and public apology. Marcus looked at me. Your call, partner. I thought about Victoria sitting in jail, her perfect world crumbling. Part of me wanted her to serve every possible minute, but another part just wanted this over. Accept the deal, I said, but add one condition, which is, she has to tell the truth, not just about the fraud and the sales, about everything. Why she did it, how long she planned it, what she really thought of me. In court. Under oath. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Miss Bennett may not be comfortable with. Then no deal, I said firmly. The truth matters more than time served. 2 days later, Victoria appeared in court. Gone was the Instagram glamour, replaced by a prison jumpsuit and an unmade face. As she took the stand, her hands trembled. Catherine was always the good daughter, she began. The responsible one. The successful one. I hated living in her shadow. When I found Dad's partnership agreement with Mr. Richardson, I thought I finally found a way to win. To take everything she had, everything she cared about. I didn't just want the money. I wanted to destroy her. She broke down then, years of jealousy and resentment pouring out. How she manipulated Dad, threatened him, and convinced Mom that I was financially abusive. How she planned every detail of my removal, right down to the timing of the restraining order. I thought if I could make everyone believe Catherine was toxic, no one would question where the money went, she sobbed. I never thought about consequences. I never thought about anyone but myself. The judge sentenced her to 3 years with the possibility of parole after 18 months. As they led her away, she turned to me. I'm sorry, Katie. I know it doesn't matter now, but I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Some betrayals run too deep for forgiveness. That evening, Marcus and I sat in the restored library of Bennett Grove Estate, discussing future plans. The property was starting to feel like home again, but different now. Stronger. Wiser. You know, Marcus said, swirling his whiskey, your father once told me you were the only one who truly loved this place. Not for its value, but for its heart. I looked around at the recovered artwork, the restored furnishings, the walls that held generations of history. It's more than just a house, I said. It's a legacy. A legacy you saved. He raised his glass. To Bennett Grove Estate and its rightful guardian. My phone buzzed one last time that night. A notification. Victoria's social media accounts had been deleted. The final chapter of her influence empire closed forever. In its place, I posted a single photo. Bennett Grove Estate at sunset, its windows glowing with warm light. The caption was simple. Some things are worth more than money. Some legacies are worth fighting for. Welcome home. Hashtag Bennett Grove Estate. Marcus was right. I was the guardian now, and I would never let anyone threaten this legacy again. 1 year later, Bennett Grove Estate stood transformed. The gardens bloomed with new life. The restored antiques gleamed in their rightful places, and the halls echoed with a different kind of energy. Marcus and I had turned the property into something neither Victoria nor Dad could have imagined, an exclusive venue for arts and cultural events, while maintaining its historic character. Victoria served her time quietly. The last I heard, she was taking business ethics courses in prison. Mom eventually moved to Florida, unable to face the local gossip. Dad disappeared somewhere in Arizona, occasionally sending apologetic emails that I never answered. The estate's first major event was approaching, a charity gala supporting young artists. As I adjusted a painting in the grand hall, Marcus appeared with an envelope. "You need to see this," he said, his expression unreadable. Inside was a letter from Victoria's prison counselor. "Dear Ms. Bennett, your sister has been working on a comprehensive journal as part of her rehabilitation. She's requested that you read it before her parole hearing next month. While this is entirely your choice, her transformation appears genuine. Enclosed is the first page, should you wish to read more." Victoria's familiar handwriting filled the page. "Dear Katie, I've spent 365 days thinking about what I did. Not just the fraud or the theft, but the years of jealousy and manipulation. I realized something during therapy. I never hated you. I hated myself for not being you. You protected our family's legacy while I tried to destroy it. You built something meaningful while I built lies on social media. You were everything I pretended to be online: successful, responsible, genuine. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that watching what you've done with Bennett Grove Estate, even from behind bars, has taught me more than any punishment could." I set the letter down, emotions churning. "Are you going to read the rest?" Marcus asked quietly. "I don't know." He nodded toward the window. Outside, workers were setting up for the gala, transforming the gardens into a magical evening venue. "Whatever you decide," he said, "remember, you've already won. Not just the estate, but something more valuable." "What's that?" "Peace. Purpose. The knowledge that you didn't let bitterness change you." He was right. While Victoria sat in prison and our parents fled in shame, I channeled my energy into making Bennett Grove Estate more than just a family home. It was now a cornerstone of the community, hosting arts programs, cultural events, and historical tours. The estate's Instagram account, a bit of irony I appreciated, had more followers than Victoria ever did. But instead of manufactured drama, it showcased real beauty, restored artwork, historical details, community events. Every post a subtle reminder of what she tried to destroy. My phone buzzed. A message from the art recovery team. They'd found the last missing piece, a small monet that Victoria had sold to a collector in Switzerland. The family collection would finally be complete again. That evening, as the gala guests arrived, I stood at the top of the grand staircase, watching the estate come alive with music, laughter, and genuine celebration. Marcus joined me, dapper as always in his tuxedo. "I have something for you," he said, handing me in a small box. Inside was a key, older and more ornate than the others. "This opens the estate's original vault," he explained. "Your father never knew about it. I think it's time for the true guardian of Bennett Grove to have it." The vault, hidden behind a panel in a library, contains centuries of family history, original deeds, photographs, letters, and journals. But most surprising of all, a letter from my great-grandmother to her future heirs. "To the one who holds this key, you now guard not just a house, but a heart. Bennett Grove Estate was built on love, not greed. Remember, true wealth isn't in what you own, but in what you protect. Choose wisely, love deeply, guard faithfully. With hope for the future, Eleanor Bennett." As I read those words, written a century ago, everything clicked into place. This was why Victoria's plan had failed. She saw the estate as something to possess and sell. I saw it as something to protect and preserve. The next morning, I wrote 2 letters. To Victoria: "I've read your first page. I'm ready to read the rest. Not for you, but for me. Some wounds need understanding to heal." To Dad: "Bennett Grove Estate is thriving. Not because of what you tried to take, but because of what you culled in its heart. You're welcome to visit. As a guest, not as family. Some bridges can't be rebuilt, but new ones can be made. Marcus found me in the garden later, planning the next season's plantings. He said, I've been thinking of retiring soon. The estate needs a sole guardian, not a partnership. I looked at him surprised, but our agreement, he smiled, was always meant to be temporary. I promised your father I'd help restore Bennett Grove to its rightful heir. I'd say that mission is accomplished. As the morning sun lit up the estate's windows, I felt great-grandmother Eleanor's words echo through time. Choose wisely, love deeply, guard faithfully. I had, and I always would. Bennett Grove Estate wasn't just a house anymore. It was a testament to resilience, a monument to truth, and a reminder that some legacies are worth fighting for. Victoria had wanted to go viral with lies. Instead, she helped write a different story, one of justice, restoration, and the triumph of integrity over greed. And that was a story worth telling.